In a world that pulls you farther and farther from yourself, coming home to your heart is one of the most radical things you can do. I'm Gabriel Gonzalez. Welcome to the Heart Mastery Podcast. I saw your messages after the last video, the one about why the heart closes after it opens. They started to come in. Comments, emails. I even had someone call me. People saying the same thing in different words. I'm in it, Gabriel. I'm in the dip right now. My heart opened up and then it closed down and I don't know what to do. Well, this video is especially for you. Not just for someone who's curious about this topic, but for the person who's living and experiencing this right now. Someone who woke up this morning and felt the weight of it in their heart, who's wondering if they made a mistake by opening up in the first place. No, you did not make a mistake. There are things that you can do. Real, specific, measurable, tested things that I have walked through myself and guided hundreds of clients through. That is what we're going to be talking about today. And I also want to tell you something about the heart mastery journey that no one told me at the beginning. But before we go any further, please drop me a comment below. Tell me where you are right now. One word is just enough. I will read every single one. Let's begin. Before I share with you the practices, there's something I want to make very clear, because I have noticed something in the people that I work with. When they're in the dip and someone hands them a list of things to do, the list itself becomes another way to avoid what is actually happening. Enduring the fire is a passive thing. It's gritting your teeth and just surviving the day, hoping to get through while you're white knuckle it, waiting for it to be over. But staying in the fire, staying in love's redeeming fire, well, that is different. Staying is active. It's a conscious skill, the skill of learning to be fully present to your own experience as it arises, without running away from it, without drowning in it, without performing your way through it. That distinction matters more than the practices that I'm about to share. These practices are not exits. They are ways to make the fire stop faster. They are tools for presence, for learning what to do with what arises moment to moment. So hold to that thought as we go through them. The first thing to do when the dip hits you is the thing that probably feels the most counterintuitive. You want to stop trying to change what you're feeling or control it, manipulate it. Instead, you want to switch into becoming the witness of it. You see, there's a part of you that is always present, always aware. That is not your emotion, not your thoughts, it's not the story in your head, but it's the one who notices all those things. That is the witness, the observer. That's the part of you that you want to start moving into. And it's not by doing more, it's actually by doing less. Simply shifting from being consumed by your experience to being curious about it. So instead of saying, I'm overwhelmed, try, I notice there's a thought that says I'm overwhelmed, and then the feeling of tightness in my stomach. Instead of saying, this will never end, try, I notice there's a thought that says this will never end. And with that, my palms are sweaty and my breathing is shallow. You see, that is not a small change. That cognitive shift from being the experience to observing the experience begins to create just enough space so that you can breathe. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to change it. You just have to become fully aware of it, observing it, without looking away. That witnessing presence is the foundation. Everything else rests on. So if you take nothing else from this video, take that. Become the witness first. Once you are in that witnessing space, the next step is to create internal room, space. And this is where HeartMath neutral technique comes in. And I want to be very clear about what neutral means, because I believe that most people misunderstand it. And I did too when I first encountered this work. Neutral is not positive. It's not trying to feel better. It's not coding the emotion with gratitude before it has actually been felt. Neutral is the space between the reaction and the response. It's the pause. And if you've ever been hijacked by an emotion and said or did something that you regretted later, you know exactly how precious that pause can be. So here is how you create it. You begin by placing a hand over your heart and you shift your attention to the area in your chest. And you begin to breathe slowly, deeply, evenly, just for 5 seconds in and then 5 seconds out. You continue to do that, and as you do this, you simply hold a sense of openness while you continue to be aware of what you're feeling. You're not trying to change the feelings. You're not trying to make anything happen other than just continue to be present as you continue to breathe in and out of the heart. Now, what this does, physiological, is to begin to regulate your heart's rhythm. Your nervous system moves out of the threat response and into a state where you can actually be with the emotion rather than feeling overwhelmed by it. This is the entry point, the neutral, the pause. And it changes everything, because when you create that neutral space, the emotion's still there, but you're no longer drowning in it. You start to move into this awareness, and your capacity to witness it, to allow it, increases. And from that position, something becomes possible that was not possible before. You can now choose how to respond. I believe that this practice is the bridge between witnessing what is happening and actually moving through it. Now we come to the practice that requires more courage than anything else that I know. Dr. David Hawkins, psychiatrist, spiritual teacher, and author of Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender, spent decades studying the mechanism of letting go, or emotional release. And what he discovered is so simple, so direct, that most people, I find, miss it entirely. Give yourself permission to feel the feeling fully. Not the idea of the feeling, not the story about what that feeling means or how it got there, but the raw physical sensation of it in your body. Without resistance, without trying to understand it, make sense of it, analyze it, or make it mean anything. Just feel it. Drop into the body, feel it, welcome it, allow it until it has run its course, because it will. Now, I find that most of us have never actually done this. We think that we have, but what we usually do is feel the edge of the emotion and then immediately reach for something and distract ourselves. Maybe a thought, maybe a distraction, a story, anything just to pull us away from the full intensity of that feeling. Dr. David Hawkins calls this the mechanism of suppression or escape. And every time that we do this, the emotion doesn't just go away, it goes deeper. It gets stored itself in the body, and it just waits. Letting go then means stopping that cycle. It means sitting with the feeling, however uncomfortable it may be, remembering that you're not the wave, you are the ocean, and the wave will pass. It always passes if you allow it, every single time, if you let it. And I want you to know that this isn't a theory, this is actually a practice. And so I want to invite you, not right now, but later, whenever you are alone, quiet, in your own room, to try this practice. And simply pick a feeling that you've been sitting with, something that you have been avoiding, and maybe not necessarily the biggest one, but one that is manageable enough. And give yourself at least 10 minutes to simply observe it and be with it. Without a phone, without music, without the internet, without distraction, just you and the feeling. And what you will discover is that that feeling, when it's deeply and fully felt, it begins to move through you. It shifts, it releases. And on the other side of it is something that you may have forgotten was even possible. Spaciousness. I want to pause here for a moment, because what we have just covered, the witnessing practice, the neutral technique, the letting go process, this is the core of this work. And if you're finding value in it and you want a clear map and ongoing support, I have 2 resources for you. If you haven't already, you can start with the Heart Mastery Starter Kit. It's completely free, and it includes a video about the 4 stages of heart mastery, a PDF guide, the heart mastery quiz, and the Come Home to Your Heart guided meditation. The link is in the description below. And if you already have the starter kit and you feel ready to go deeper in this work, the Heart Mastery Community membership is your next step. It provides ongoing guidance, community, and a structured path through everything that we're talking about in this series. Again, the link is in the description below. Now, there's one more practice, and this one is about what happens afterwards. Once the feeling has moved through you, you'll notice that something begins to open up. And the best way I can describe this is a feeling of quiet or stillness. And this is the moment to practice heart-brain coherence. Not before, but after this. Because coherence as a practice is not about bypassing the emotion. It's not about layering positivity over a wound that hasn't yet healed. It's about completing the cycle, moving from release into restoration. So here's the practice. You're going to keep your hand over your heart and continue the slow, deep, even breathing. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And now you're going to begin to generate a genuine feeling of gratitude or appreciation. But not as a concept, as a feeling. You do this by bringing to mind something or someone, a person, a pet, a moment, a memory from the past, that when you think about it, it naturally evokes that warmth, that feeling of gratitude inside of you. So you don't want to force the feeling. You want to welcome it. You want to allow it. And you're going to notice that as you do this, your heart rhythm begins to synchronize with your breath in a nice, coherent pattern. The brain receives a very powerful stabilizing signal from your heart. And this is what the Institute of Heart Math and decades of research point to. And it's the foundation of the heart-brain coherence work that you may have encountered elsewhere. For example, if you follow Dr. Joe Dispenza. The heart is not just a pump. It's an intelligent system. And when you align with it, the whole system begins to come back online. So this is not the end of the work. The fire will continue to visit you again and again, but this is how you keep coming back to yourself after the fire has done what it came to do. This is how you stay with the fire until the fire passes through you. There's something that I want to tell you about this journey that nobody told me when I was first starting out. And it's that it is not linear. The healing journey does not move from broken to whole, from closed to open, from pain to peace in a straight line. It actually moves through cycles. We move through cycles of healing, like the rings of a tree, for example. Each one marking a season, a passage, a layer of growth. And so here is what that looks like in practice. In my own life, I remember I went through a cycle very early on after my heart opened up about grief. All the grief I had repressed for many years started to come out. Loss of friends from my youth, friends that I had left behind every time that I moved to a new country, for a version of myself that I had imagined and never lived. And so I went into that grief, stayed with it. It lasted a very long time. And I used these practices, and eventually I came out on the other side, not without scars, but with something new, kind of like a new awareness, a new spaciousness inside of me, a softness, I would say. And then life moved on, things settled for a while, there was a flow, and then something happened that triggered another wound and a new cycle began. I remember there was a big cycle of shame. When I started to make videos again, I started looking at myself on the screen, putting myself in front of the camera, and suddenly I was confronted with all these feelings of discomfort about my own physical appearance. So a lot of old wounds around self-acceptance started to come up. And gosh, if it had not been for these practices, I would have not moved through that cycle. And then the next cycle came, and then the next cycle, and then the next cycle, and then the next cycle. And so this is exactly how healing, deep healing, actually works. As light continues to enter, as the heart continues to open, it begins to reach those places that were previously in pain, in the dark. And so these emotions that you pushed away, that you disowned, those parts of yourself that were hidden, one by one, the light of love begins to shine upon them, and they begin to surface again, to be seen, to be liberated. And so the cycle, unfortunately, never really stops. And so what you're going to notice over time, that what really changes in you is your relationship to these cycles. You begin to recognize them as they begin to show up, and then you go, oh my God, here we go again, another opportunity to do some deeper healing around this. And this is the essence of what mastery is all about. So I want to remind you that whatever cycle you're on right now, it has a middle, a beginning, and an end, and you will emerge from it, and you will be more yourself than ever before. Because ultimately, healing is about becoming more whole. As you do this work, there are 4 things that I want to suggest you do. They're very simple, and I would say they're not optional. The first thing is to ground yourself. So get your feet on the earth. Walk barefoot on the grass, on the soil, on the sand. Because the body needs to discharge what it has been holding on to, and the earth will receive that discharge. The second thing is to move your body. Walk, dance, shake. That emotion that the mind cannot process, the body can move through. So give it a way out. The third thing is to stay hydrated. When you're doing deep emotional and energetic release work, you're also doing electromagnetic work. The emotions are primarily magnetic, so the body needs water to process and discharge that energy efficiently. So drink more water than you think that you need. And then finally, find your people. This work, I believe, was never meant to be done alone. Find people who are on the same path as you are, who can hold a safe, unconditionally loving, validating space that can offer you some support. Community of practice, I find, is not a luxury, it's a necessity if you're doing this work. So there they are. Witness, create space, let go, restore. That's the cycle. And every time you complete it, you come out the other side a little bit more open, a little bit more free, a little bit more resilient and stronger, and more importantly, a little bit more yourself. In closing, you don't have to do this work perfectly, because perfection is not the point. Presence is the point. The fire of love is not your enemy. In fact, it never was. You're going to notice that it is actually the best teacher that you'll ever have. Because every time that you choose to stay with it, to remain anchored in your heart, even when everything is telling you, close and go back into safety, you're actually doing one of the most important types of work of your life, because your healing work will not only impact you, but it will impact your relationships and everyone around you. In the next video, we're going to be looking at the full map, the 4 stages of heart mastery, where you are right now in the journey, what each stage actually looks like from the inside, and what your next step might be. So before you go, please do me a favor and tell me in the comments, which of these 4 practices landed the most for you? Which one do you want me to go deeper on? I genuinely want to know. And if this series is finding you at the right moment, at the right time, please subscribe, because I'm going to be publishing more videos every week. This is how more people find this work. Until the next time, I send you all of my love from my heart to yours. Bye-bye for now. Thanks for being here. Coming home to your heart isn't a destination. It's a daily practice, and you don't have to do it alone. Join us inside the Heart Mastery community, and be sure to download the Heart Mastery Starter Kit. It's completely free and a simple way to get started. The link is in the description below.